just a little later. First, if you're going to have a one-man show, you better make sure your one man is Stifyn Parri. He's an actor, entertainer, showbiz producer. He's got lots of good stories to tell, and he'll be telling them live on stage at the Wales Millennium Centre later this month. Welcome. Lovely to see you. Tell us more.
Thank you.
What a departure.
Some people say it's a departure, but it does seem like a natural step for me to do next. I have done a one-man show before, years and years ago. I did a one-man show based on Emlyn Williams' life on his book called George. And that got me into producing, because I produced that show as well. And that's what made me get excited about producing things.
What intrigues me is that many people listening will remember you from the TV soap Brookside.
Yeah.
I remember watching you in the West End doing Les Mis. I've always thought of you as a team player in a big cast with people around you. This is different in the sense that there's no escape. It's just you, isn't it?
Absolutely, and there is no escape, but I've put myself on this precipice to be pushed off. But I think recently in the business, there have been so many cuts in budgets, and there's so many corners I've had to cut creatively because other people have told me so. And I am only on this planet once, and I want to do things my way, and to have freedom, freedom of creativity. The best way I could do it is actually do a one-man show that I had full control on.
It's a long way from Ross in Wrexham, where you grew up, isn't it? I bet they'll be very proud of you.
Well, brilliant. They were brilliant. Last week I did my first show there in the Stute, which is a theatre I grew up in, and the place was packed. And I've been rehearsing this show basically since the beginning of January of this year. My dogs, Bill and Alfie, are bored with it, and I needed an audience. And that night I realised it wasn't a one-man show last Saturday. It was a two-way thing, because they taught me all about the pace of it, what works. So this week I've been busy editing away, because I've already edited so much out of the show. I've nearly got the second show ready. But the next show I'm going to be doing in Cardiff will be a slightly shorter version of what I've just done in Ross.
And take us back to leaving Ross near Wrexham. There's this small community, and then going to the Guildhall in London, which is where you study. And that must have been such a huge culture shock.
I was absolutely scared, Steph. I was scared of the underground. I'd never seen the underground. I was worried that the doors of the underground would cut my head off. I didn't know how to get to the Guildhall. I think somehow I got in. There's 20,000 people looking for 20 places, and I got the part. But after being there and being with all these famous people's children, and I was the only one from a mining village in northeast Wales, all of a sudden then I got work back here in Wales. I was only there a year, but I had a brilliant time. And then, of course, after many years of doing various different jobs, I then went to live in London, and I had to because I was working there.
I mean, you made your name on a UK stage in Brookside with that gay kiss. I mean, for anybody who's under the age of 45, you better give us a quick reminder.
Well, Brookside was a...
I missed the accent.
I know. And I've got a very rude story, which I will not share with you now.
It's
on a
okay,
Sunday.
we'll cut it out, it's fine.
But
producers jumping around saying...
It is in the show of how I learnt the Brookie accent. But basically, Brookside was a new soap opera on Channel 4. So when Channel 4 and S4C was starting, Brookside started. It was very cutting edge. It was brilliantly produced. And I remember sitting in my flat in Fairwater for years wondering who was going to be playing Gordon's boyfriend. They talked about this Christopher Duncan for years. And then all of a sudden I got a call. Would I go and have an audition? And I went to play Christopher for one episode, and I was there for 2 years. And a year into the storyline, after killing a dog and various things you have to do in a soap opera, they then started to bring various gay elements, and we discussed homophobia and all sorts of other subjects to knit in to the fabric of the time, really, because Clause 28 was going on, where gay people didn't have the same rights. So we started to do all these political things, and we did the first gay kiss, which was a tiny little peck on the cheek.
Which was very, very, it's no big deal now, but very, very controversial at the time. When you consider the time slot in which this was going out, there was a huge fuss, wasn't there, at the time?
Well, it was on the 9 o'clock news.
Yeah.
It was the "and finally" on the 9 o'clock news, which was when I thought maybe I should go home and tell my mother that I actually am gay. And I do tell that whole story in the show because I was playing a gay. I'd been on the news. I'd done the first gay kiss on British telly, and I hadn't come out. So it was a very odd situation, and that's what I've based this whole one-man show on. I've had the most bonkers life, and I still am. I find myself in situations that nobody would ever dream of wanting to be in, let alone try to be.
Did your mum know already?
Mothers always know. Within about 3 minutes, she was fine, like most mothers. Once she knew that Stephen was able to stand up to anybody else that was going to maybe look down on him, she was fine.
Lots of our colleagues in television won't thank me for saying this, but telly, by and large, is quite easy. You had a huge culture shock when you were suddenly on stage in the West End doing, what was it, 7 shows a day?
8 shows a day.
8 shows a week.
Yeah, but I had done...
This was Les Mis.
This was Les Miserables. I went for an audition for Phantom of the Opera, got 11 recalls, didn't get that. But then they gave me the part of Marius in Les Miserables for 2 years, which was probably the best part I could have had in any show at that time in my career. And yes, it was the hardest job I've ever done, but to be... the honour of having a standing ovation. The show used to get a standing ovation every night. And we were standing there singing with an orchestra underneath us on the stage while people were standing. I mean, you don't get that. I'd done lots of theatre before that, but that was something else.
There's probably nothing you will ever do in television or on stage that'll be quite like that.
Oh, this show I'm doing now is quite like nothing else I've ever done before. But in Les Miserables, I only had a week and a half's rehearsal. For this show I'm doing now, I've given myself 9 months, but I've been rehearsing it at 7 o'clock every Thursday morning.
We've talked about the highlights and the things that everyone will know about. What was the worst moment so far in your career?
Ooh, apart from this programme? Haha. No, I've had to go... I'm sure lots of actors got the same thing. When you sign up to do a pantomime, you're probably doing about 75 shows in 5 weeks. When you're working with people such as Derek Griffiths or Marty Kane, that is brilliant. But then you have to work with some bitter people as well, which are not as nice.
Oh, no, come on, you
I'm
can
not
tell
going
us.
to name them because the last time I named them, I got into great trouble. But it was a double act, a comedy act, and the little one didn't quite like me.
Oh, I think we know who you mean now.
Kept asking me to not be funny. And I thought, well, there are more people in this show than you. But anyway, I move on. Let's not be bitter and twisted. It'll show in my face.
Is there a Shirley Bassey connection here with Kimmy Nevins?
Yes.
Go on, tell us more.
I was lucky enough to be the creative producer for the opening of the Wales Millennium Centre, and we honoured Shirley Bassey for what she'd done for Wales and taking Wales to the world. And in the interval, and I tell the story in the show much longer than I'm going to tell you now, but basically there was a technical problem in the interval, so I had to keep Dame Shirley Bassey happy. So obviously we had a glass of champagne, and there was the most fantastic buffet. But
thank you.
But Dame Shirley Bassey was always scared that somebody was going to be poisoning her, so she made me eat everything first, which was no great deal because this lady's salads are the best salads this side of the moon.
I only found this out today, actually chatting to Stifyn, that we'd supplied the buffet and he was the official taster for Shirley.
Really?
Yes.
What an extraordinary role to have.
Listen, that's nothing. I've had the most ridiculous... There's one story about Bassey which I won't be telling you on the radio.
No, you can, it's fine, we'll cut it out.
You will not cut it out, we know it's live. No, I've worked with some amazing people and had the most ridiculous situations, so that's what the show's about.
The interesting thing about you is that you've been on stage and in front of camera for donkey's years, but you've also had a parallel career as a producer, which is more difficult when you're sort of organising enormous events or standing there with the red light on a camera?
That's a brilliant question. I honestly don't know the answer. I think I try and see them all as the same thing. I think I probably, at my best, what I want to do is entertain, whether that's producing or presenting, or I used to sing or acting, but it's all about entertaining people. I've loved doing massive jobs such as the Ryder Cup opening concert at the stadium, but having nobody else to be to answer to and do my one-man show, but also be responsible for everything, I think is the one that makes me tick most.
And who was the most inspiring person you ever worked with? The nicest?
Oh, there's some fantastic people. Marty Kane was absolutely phenomenally lovely. I've had so many people. John Inman, Sue Johnston from Brookside. I could go on and on and on. There are loads of people. I don't think I could choose one.
You can see Stifyn Parri's one-man show at the Wales Millennium Centre in Cardiff on the 26th of November, and then you're off to London as well.
Yeah, London the following Friday on the 2nd, and then I do the show in Welsh at a place called Tigolchi, the Wash House in North Wales. Tudur Owen, my friend who's a stand-up, has let me have his stage for the night. So this show is going to just keep evolving, hopefully.
We wish you continued success. It's
Thank
lovely
you,
to see you. And just for you, I think we should have let you choose the next track. What are you going to choose?
I'm going to have to choose this lady because she would make Three Blind Mice sound like a 3-act play. It's Dame Shirley Bassey, who loves a good salad.
Good girl,
she is got to sing Goldfinger.
Stifyn Parri, a delight as always. Stifyn Parri, we should introduce you from now on as Shirley Bassey's official taster, I think. Good to see you and good luck with the show as well.
Thank you, Jamie.
Shirley Bassey and Goldfinger played specially for Stifyn Parri. Jamie with you on BBC Radio Wales, the latest news, sport and travel from the BBC.